Welcome to another live stream and another day of blood in the market, my friends. Unfortunately, Bitcoin as well as the altcoin market continue dumping aggressively to the downside and look like absolute trash, to be quite honest. So I want to take a look at the good, the bad, and the ugly for the market. Unfortunately, I myself missed the juicy short opportunities, such as the game of trading. Can't catch them all. However, another part of trading is avoiding getting wrecked. This is exactly why I'm mostly sitting on the sidelines for now. Sometimes if you're unsure about the market, the best trade is no trade. I would actually love to get myself into some juicy short positions. However, I don't want to FOMO into a dump way too late, right into potential support. So I'd rather miss out on some trade opportunities than to gamble and get completely wrecked. And guys, if you do appreciate these daily updates and keeping a level head through the absolute chaos and carnage, do me a favor and hit that like button. With that, let's start with the 4-hour chart because this chart has a few things I want to go over. Like I said, both the good and the bad. First things first would be this yellow diagonal trend line that I was talking about in yesterday's stream. One thing about this line is that I mentioned was basically if we ended up losing it, we were likely going to target my longer time frame trend line, the white trend line here. That is what happened. Again, I never caught the short. That's totally fine. But it was a very clean trend line. And my reasoning for that is just because it has so many very pinpoint accurate touch points, even the third one here, and then followed by a breakout. So how do I feel right now? I have mixed feelings about this white trend line, honestly, because it does not have such a clean trend line like that yellow one did. It would have been a lot cleaner had it got a third touch point here with some sort of a bounce before ending up breaking. And I mean, much like this yellow one, unfortunately, we just absolutely nuked through. We never did get a nice retest worth shorting, anything like that. So like I said, a missed position, but whatever, it is what it is. But like I said, I don't know how bearish I want to get on the breakdown of this white trend line here. Again, don't get me wrong. The market, I have very big concerns about the market right now. But as far as this specific breakout of this white diagonal trend line, just the fact that it really only had these two touch points, it's not a very strong trend line, not super accurate with multiple touch points and that sort of thing. So I don't know how much weight I want to give that. Another thing to mention is that the CME futures gap, right? I was talking about this last week, actually, that it's very possible we come back and retest and basically fill the CME gap at about 88.2K. Now, one thing that is nice is that, hey, at least we came down and tested this, and we even formed a couple of gaps to the upside, right? I see just now how the market's opening here. We do have this little gap above us, so it is still possible we end up finding support and seeing some relief in the market. But again, just be careful, you guys, because things are looking very rough. And guys, for those of you who are interested in just seeing way more examples of basically how I'm looking at the market structure, how, some of my favorite trade strategies, some of my, just how I'm looking at market structure, you guys, sorry, just getting things loaded up here. I thought I had it loaded up. But yeah, just looking at things. You want to see more examples of how I'm looking at market structure, some of my trade setups, strategies, and so on. Be sure to scan the QR code on the screen. I will here, actually, it will be on this BloFin promo here. They are still giving my followers as well, you guys. They're running this current promo here until January 25th. So if that is something that interests you to take advantage of this promo that they're running for my followers, new and existing, as well as getting access into my free Telegram channel, you know what to do. Like I said, scan that QR code that was on that poster or the one that I'm bringing up on the screen right here, you guys. But yeah, like I said, I do have my concerns about the market, quite honestly. I want to go back to my original 4-hour chart here. I'm actually, just to clean things up, I'm going to get rid of my yellow trend line here. But let's take a look at a couple other things. So there is some confluence at this level for potential support. I don't want to get too bullish at this point because I think just the fact that we have pulled back so aggressively, I really wouldn't be too surprised to end up seeing us target some much lower support levels. You guys may remember that actually a while ago, before we started this pump, I was talking about a potential retest of 84K. I think that's back on the table at this point, just how the structure has basically formed here. But like I said, there is potential support here. Just based on, like I said, we had that CME futures gap there that has filled now to the downside. And as well, if I bring up the Trendmaster indicator, I want to pull a fib from where we had our last buy signal here. So that would have been basically our pivot down here. This would have been our lows after the sell signal. Then that's where we started our uptrend, right? So if I end up pulling a fib from there to where we basically topped out, notice that that CME gap, 88.2K, actually lines up very close to the 886 on this kind of a fib pull. So we still technically have an uptrend with this indicator pointing us to the upside with a higher sell signal. And we still have this higher buy signal that is holding. But again, it's just, I have my concerns right now. The market is just not looking all that great. Hard to get bullish at a time like this. I know, generally speaking, obviously, I'd rather be bullish at support rather than bearish at support. It's just that we have so much bearish momentum going for us right now that I would rather just be cautious at those support levels. Like I said, I don't want to FOMO short into support or something like that. But I would rather see something, see some signs of strength before getting all antsy to get into some long positions again. I want to bring up the liquidations levels as well, just to kind of find out where liquidity is. Now, one thing that I do like about this is you can see that obviously there is a lot of late shorts, late leverage shorts coming into the market just because we do have that liquidity building to the upside. To be fair, we still do have more below us, right? We do have especially lower leverage liquidity and lower leverage liquidations, I should say, as we actually have closer to the support of the bigger range, right? When we're pulling a fib from our bottoms here, my purple box here being the classic STUBER fib and my green pocket being the swing fail territory. So there's actually a big cluster of liquidity basically right at double bottom territory. So I don't want to rule that out as a possibility. I still think that it's very possible we end up grabbing, especially this high leverage liquidity or liquidations. I keep saying liquidity, basically the same. But like I said, I still think that it is possible we see some sort of a bounce eventually here. So if we did get some sort of a bounce, like I said, I would love to get into a short position, a typical STUBER fib. Now, this would take a while to play out. I wouldn't really expect to see this entry, today or tomorrow or anything like that. But something to watch for moving forward is just the fact that since we had this structure I kept talking about on recent streams, we had our high, higher high, and our higher low. We ended up breaking that. So at this point, for me to feel comfortable about a short, I would love to see a pullback where we retest closer to resistance. So if I pull a fib, something like that, notice where a lot of that high leverage liquidations ends up basically right in my STUBER fib there, even up to double top territory there. So that's the kind of setup that I would love to see and willing to basically take a stab at some shorts if we got that kind of a bounce. To be fair, there is some potential short opportunities that would come much before that, but that would just kind of be the ideal situation if we were going to basically get some sort of a relief rally and end up retesting the top of the range, right? I would love to look for that situation up there. But let's actually look at this as well. Still a 4-hour chart, you guys, but just kind of marked out the naked market structure, right? So no indicators, just looking at market structure for what it is. I told you guys in the VIP as well that I was basically watching this and that I really wasn't seeing any signs of a reversal with Bitcoin yet, just because we continue breaking structure to the downside on the 4-hour. Ever since we ended up losing this higher low structure here. And, this wick, to be fair, that could have just been a fake out, but this is a very obvious one that a very strong candle closed below. And so basically all of these red lines are just where we ended up breaking our lows, setting lower lows. And that confirms our lower highs, which I have outlined in yellow just to kind of map it out very simply here and very clean for you guys. So basically, right now, like I said, there is potential short opportunities coming a little bit earlier. The one that I would be watching for right now, and obviously this can change on the shorter time frames, the structure might be a little bit different, but just looking at it for what it is right now on the 4-hour here, basically for me to get into a short, I would want to see us retesting close to that lower high resistance. Whether that means we get some sort of a swing fail or rejection here where we just kind of wick above and then starting to get rejected at that level, that would be great to end up shorting or retest kind of something like that. The thing is, eventually these downtrends break, right? So if we end up invalidating this lower high resistance, then I think it's much more likely that we end up going right back to the top of the range. But obviously there's a lot of what ifs between now and then. So right now, just looking at this structure for what it is, if we are going to get a continuation, I would still want to see some sort of a bounce because, again, I don't want to FOMO in after we've got such a juicy move to the downside already. But if we got some sort of a relief rally and end up retesting closer to our resistance levels, whether that's on the micro trend here or the bigger trend where we actually started this swing, that's something that I would actually be interested in looking for short positions, basically. I want to zoom into the 5-minute just to kind of check out what's going on. Actually, before I zoom in too close, I'm actually going to erase everything. I do want to check out the long short ratio as well. I know a lot of you guys have grown to love this indicator here, and I myself as well. This is something that I don't like to see. The fact that the retail long side of things is back over 70%. We have about 71.35% for retail longs here. And, basically, as long as retail is willing to try and long this dip, unfortunately, that's fuel to the fire. And we could, if retail continues trying to long this, I mean, that would be the fuel needed to end up breaking that support and continuing the bigger downtrend. And you guys know that. Well, first of all, when I was talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, as far as the ugly goes, let's actually hop over to my weekly chart because you guys, I've been saying for a while now, I mean, unfortunately, we have not, so far anyways, we have not got that real nice bounce that I was hoping for to test some higher levels. But overall, I've always, right from basically October, I've been saying I really think the top is in for Bitcoin this cycle. I am very happy to be wrong about that theory. But at this point, even though I'm still expecting some sort of, midterm bounces and that sort of thing, I really am not expecting Bitcoin to go absolutely parabolic and, smashing through new all-time highs and hitting some of those ridiculous targets that you see on social media. Again, happy to be wrong about that. I would love to see my spot bags go to the absolute moon. Would love to see it. But just the fact that we lost such important structure on the weekly time frame, I've always had my concerns with that for the last several months. But yeah, unfortunately, I would really have liked to see us end up bouncing, climbing higher for some sort of a bearish retest. But unfortunately, we don't always get what we want. So we're going to have to see if we even do. I was mentioning yesterday, I would not like to see this weekly candle turn into an engulfing candle. And what do we have right now? Obviously, we have 5 days until this candle closes, but we have absolutely smashed through some of my support levels, right? This green order block that I had outlined, as well as the actual support of that weekly candle. I mean, we've just engulfed it all. Again, it is early in the week to say that we need to close down here. Anything is possible. We could just moon to the upside and get a massive green candle. It's still absolutely possible, but it's looking less and less likely. And the market is looking weaker and weaker by the day here. So unfortunately, we're going to have to see what happens. If we end up, basically, I'm getting close to the point where I want to wake up that STUBER from his hibernation, because you guys know I was very bearish this whole move to the downside here, starting to get a little more midterm bullish here, but it's just not looking great. I mean, to be completely honest with you guys, I am starting to have my concerns with the market once again. I know there's a ton of people saying that, oh, this is so obvious that we have the exact same thing playing out that we had last market cycle. Yes, I agree with that. And you guys know that I was talking about this very early. I was talking about this basically, where was it? Right about here, which was actually the start of November. As soon as we lost our horizontal and diagonal area, I was talking about how similar this was looking to the previous market cycle. Honestly, the fact that so many people are starting to see how obvious and clear it is, and just everyone hopping on that train makes me think that it's not going to play out the exact same. However, the structure is still there. We haven't invalidated yet, so it's absolutely still possible we're going to get the exact same thing and just turn this into a big bear flag and continue in on through a bit of a bear market. I shouldn't say a bit of a bear market. It's possible that we start an entire bear market. But we're going to have to see what happens. I just think it's so obvious that it, well, likely won't end up playing out the exact same. Very rare for market cycles to end up with the exact same topping pattern. But obviously, we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, let's even bring up the RSI. The RSI has actually, I mean, this is microanalyzing the RSI, but we've even lost a little bit of a higher low on the RSI there. So it's just starting to look not so great, in my opinion. What else? Bitcoin. Yeah, so far we're trying to hold this little double bottom, 87.8K. So a little bit lower than that. Like I said, a little bit lower than that CME gap. But we'll have to see what happens there because, again, actually, let me close that liquidations indicator and bring that fib back up from our pivot down here where we had that buy signal. And again, so far, we do still technically have potential support there. It doesn't look great. I'll give it that. The market looks like total shit, to put it nicely. But I don't want to short into potential support. Basically, that's all it comes down to. So let me know in the chat how you guys are doing. I hope you guys are all surviving this. I hope some of you guys ended up catching the shorts. Like I said, I myself never. I actually have a few automated bots that have caught it. I got Ethereum short, a cake short, and an arrow short just from automation. But I myself did not catch a nice juicy short. That's kind of the nice thing about being automated, I suppose. It catches things when you can't always catch everything. But yeah, hopefully some of you guys did end up making some gains there, or at least, like I've been kind of saying in the Telegram, guys, just looking not only for those trade entries, but also ways to protect myself, right? I was saying that if we lose 93K, I was planning on protecting myself. I was going to lock in profits for one position because if that happened, I was going to experience a bit of a loss from another position. So, you know, and even just other trades I took very quickly, taking some profits and bumping stop loss to break even. Just want to cover myself because I didn't want to take another loss, basically. But yeah, more so just lately, like I said, I've been kind of a little bit hands off, sitting on the sidelines a little bit, because if things aren't super clear to me, I don't necessarily want to be trading it. And that's kind of what another thing that I was pointing out in the Telegram, you guys, is just levels to be cautious of, you know, warning that there was no signs of reversal, warning that we still had the CME gap a little bit lower and all that sort of good stuff as well. So trading is more than just looking for those entries and taking profits, right? It's also about controlling your losses. It's also about minimizing your risk, you know, just risk management in general. So important in the game of trading. So more than just looking for entries, right? What else do we have? Meme coins getting absolutely smashed, you guys. Unfortunately, you guys know I love troll coin as far as a meme coin goes. Actually down below $20 million market cap, down at about 18 million. So, I mean, I don't expect miracles out of meme coins when the market in general is looking very weak, because obviously it is the highest risk asset. Basically, the way I look at it, there's the stock market, there's penny stocks, there's crypto, and then there's meme coins. Well, there's altcoins and then meme coins, right? So basically the penny stock of the crypto world, very dangerous, low market caps, high volatility, and obviously not just not a ton of tech there to back up the products, obviously. But yeah, unfortunate to see it losing support there. I really don't see a reason for it to stop until basically 1 penny, which would be almost getting cut in half again from here, right? That's the thing, is things can always drop more. I've said many times that as far as meme coins go, I mean, obviously, don't get silly. It is the Solana casino, right? When you're looking at meme coins, very high risk as it gets. But as far as DCA, this is just kind of my meme coin of choice, and I will be looking to DCA again if we do get that drop to my next support level, basically. Cat with Mask, very much the same thing, just kind of looking weak. I was happy that we ended up breaking this downtrend and just kind of trading sideways here. Still doesn't look terrible because we have still flatlined. But realistically, if Bitcoin and the rest of the market continues going to the downside, I mean, meme coins are just going to get absolutely hammered, right? So what do we got here? As I mentioned, we do now technically have, I'm actually going to erase this CME gap and map out our new one just above us, which runs to about 89.2, 89.3 thousand would be the top of that gap there. But there's also this very small one up here, which is actually closer to 93K, right? So I don't want to rule a bounce out of it. And as I was saying, I would love to, as far as looking for short opportunities, I would love to get a retest of resistance up here. And lucky for us, I mean, not that these gaps have to fill anytime soon, but if we do end up filling those, I mean, it's likely that we're going to be testing higher up into this range. So it's nice to see that we do have those gaps to the upside at least. Sad to announce you did get wrecked. Oh, no. Well, hopefully you had stop losses in place, or hopefully just, keeping your position sizes reasonable. Because that's the thing too, guys, when it comes to trading, if you're ever upset about a loss you take, right? Because like I said, I took a loss a couple nights ago. It happens, but the important thing is that you're not wiping out your account in one trade or two trades or even 10 trades, right? I mean, realistically, you should be able to survive taking many losses before your account truly suffers. If you're ever upset about a loss you take, chances are you're using too much margin or too much leverage. Same thing on the other side, you guys, as far as keeping a level head. If you're overly ecstatic about the fact that you took a win on one of your positions, or you're so excited about how much money you made on a trade, chances are you're trading with a little bit more than you should be, because trading should be, I know it's a little cliche to say, but trading should be boring. It shouldn't, I mean, I never find it boring, period, but it just shouldn't, you shouldn't have your emotions fluctuating more than what the price of crypto does, right? If your emotions feel the way these charts look, then there's a chance that you're trading with too much money. So just something to consider there, just a little heads up moving forward. Are we buying support? As far as spot, I've been buying a little bit of spot on the way down. Still not super comfortable with going into the leverage longs, but yeah, I mean, I'm basically always willing to DCA into crypto, right? That's the thing. I feel very different about my investments accounts versus my trading account. So you want to see BTC at 44444.44. I mean, you know what? Let's give you a little chart porn here. Let's remove all our drawings here and look for if this is an actual bear market. And guys, I have a hard time saying that because so many people think that when I say, hey, we could be in a bear market, a lot of people hear, hey, Stu said we're in a bear market. Right. So I'm just saying that if we do go into a bigger market cycle correction and we actually go into a full-on bear market, not that this cycle has to play out the exact same as every other cycle, obviously, but every other cycle so far has tested the STUBER fibs. And those STUBER fibs right now are closer to, it really doesn't even start until about 40K. So again, we're going to have to see what happens. Just, it does happen, right? Let's just in case there's new people here who haven't seen me do this before, if you're saying, yeah, right, Stu, notice that if I pull that last market cycle from bear market bottom to bull market peak, look where our next bear market ended, just below the 786 there. Let's go to our previous cycle before that, pull from bear market bottom to bull market peak. Where did that bear market end? Right in the middle between the 786 and 886 fib pocket there. Let's go to the very first OG cycle for Bitcoin and pull a fib from the all-time lows to the first market cycle peak. And notice that it bottomed just a little above the 886. So far, all of these market cycles have come back and tested the STUBER fibs. To be fair, it's getting slightly higher, right? Like I said, the most recent one barely got below the 786. So it's possible we front run it a little bit if it happens, but just understand that that is a possibility. I know a lot of people are married to the idea that, oh, there's bigger players in the space. That can never happen. Anybody who's been in crypto for more than one full cycle will tell you that anything can happen. You know, a lot of people thought that they were safe with cross leverage in October, thinking that, oh, there's no way that we could ever hit my liquidation prices. And then all of a sudden that happened and absolutely blew up many, many accounts in the space. So just basically be ready for anything. That's our job as traders. Just kind of plan ahead for, okay, maybe we don't end up dropping to 40K, but if we do you have a plan? Are you going to have some dry, cold, hard cash ready to buy the dip in that case? Are you going to wait until you see it and then think, oh, crypto's dead? You're going to listen to the headlines for the 500th time that Bitcoin is dead, right? It's just good to always plan ahead for the what ifs, right? We don't know. And that includes my 5-minute setups, my 4-hour setups, all of it, you guys. When I pull a fib looking for that STUBER support retest, for example, we never know if it's going to happen, but if it does happen, at least we planned ahead and we're ready to seize the opportunity rather than going full panic mode and not knowing what the heck's going on, right? So just a few things there to keep in mind. How much of this move is because of Trump and Greenland? Honestly, I would say next to none. Obviously, well, that could have spooked the market, but realistically, I mean, that guy Trump is all over the map. He's always changing. Well, I don't want to get too much into politics, but basically, yeah, maybe that bit of fear over that is causing a little panic in the market. To me, it just looks like market structure doing structure things, right? After we ended up losing our higher low, then we're just still trending to the downside until we break some sort of a lower high, and then we can start trending to the upside again. But yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's real hard to trade fundamentals. I'm not saying that they don't matter. It's just when it comes to actually trading, it's hard to say when something's going to matter and when it's not. Basically, it depends if the chart lines up with it, basically. Tom Lee hasn't been on CNBC hawking his Ethereum position lately. Yeah, and that's another thing to consider is, so I see so many people on crypto Twitter and stuff like that saying, oh, Tom Lee says, you know, Bitcoin's going to 180K, whatever. Understand that the last couple of cycles, that guy has been shilling the absolute top of every market cycle since I've been in crypto. So, I mean, take and do with that information what you will. The stream is so great. Good leveling of emotions. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that because, again, there's just so much more to trading than just entering a trade and, you know, just hoping that you end up taking profit on a trade, right? Like I said, the fact that I'm not real sure, the fact I'm not overly bullish at this support level, but I'm still able to keep a level head by at least not FOMOing into short positions right into that potential support and things like that, you guys, it goes a long way. So yeah, unfortunately, you know, I myself not taking a bunch of trades the last couple of days, but I'd rather just wait and let the market kind of make some more clear signs. And to be fair, maybe someone else out there is other people who maybe you have your own strategy that it's like, well, this is playing out absolutely perfectly, or this setup is here that I have back tested and that sort of thing. It's just, as far as my personal strategies, I just don't see things incredibly clear right now. So I'm more than happy to just kind of wait it out and see what happens. So thank you for your input there. Can I look at the charts for ABVX? I can. ABVX. I've never heard of it. Is this a? Doesn't look like it is on. Is it? Is this a coin or is this a stock? Are you talking? Oh, that is not the one. Let me know in the chat which ABVX you are referring to, and I will actually share it in the Telegram after this stream. If you let me know there, I will take a look at that as I wrap up here. But yeah, anyways, guys, I think that's about all I wanted to go over today. I just know that there's a lot of panic in the market today with all the carnage that's going on. And guys, I wish I caught the shorts as well. Unfortunately, that's a part of trading. You don't always catch every single trade setup that's out there. So it is what it is. But I really wanted to give you my thoughts and opinions just so that hopefully I can help you keep a level head throughout the chaos here. I don't think Bitcoin's going straight to zero or anything like that. It's just that, like, realistically looking at the 4 hour here, you guys, I mean, it's not like we absolutely smashed through our current range or anything like that. Yeah, it's looking weak. Support always looks weak. So we're just going to have to see what happens. But yeah, like I said, just wanted to throw my thoughts out into the universe here. And if you do appreciate these live streams, my friends, please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. If I didn't get to checking all the charts requests or something like that, I will throw some up in the Telegram when I get a sec after wrapping up this stream. And just a reminder, you guys, for those of you who are interested in just learning and seeing more examples of some of my favorite trade strategies, how I use Fibonacci's and market structure, and like I said, just giving my overall thoughts on the market, even if it just means me, being cautious rather than taking trade opportunities or trade setups rather. That's all a part of the game of trading. So if that does interest you, scan the QR code. I'll throw it up here for you guys in a sec. And yeah, basically, let me also go forward here. Like I said, you guys, my partners at BloFin are currently running this special promo for my followers. That's new and existing followers. That's another 5 days until January 25th. So if that is something that interests you, that is the no KYC exchange of choice that I personally trade on. And like I said, signing up below me also gets you free access into my Telegram channel. So with that, I think that's about it, my friends. So with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Thank you so much for being here with me once again. I will likely be streaming again tomorrow. I'm expecting volatility to stick around for a little while, so I assume I will be back. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace. Oh, actually, guys, also one last thing before I wrap up. If you just want a free glance into my private channel, I also do have this free Discord channel. There is a link in the description down below where all of my signals do also get shared there. But notice it is delayed stew signals. So they're actually, I believe it's 3 days later that these signals do get posted. But if you just kind of want a sneak peek at what my Telegram group is all about and the kind of posts that I make and that sort of thing, do yourselves a favor and sign up to that totally free of charge. And yeah, with that, I'm out for real. Stay safe, my friends. Peace out.